So in HubMeta, I will just go directly to my taxonomy and I'll see that I have some measurements here. We already saw how you would create measurements in our data entry, but quickly you just add a new measurement, add name definition, and there were some guidelines about how you would do that. I've already created these 5 measurements, measurement 1 to 5 here. So my next step is to go ahead and try to create a construct. I'll create my construct 1 and let's just leave something for definition. Let's add construct 2 and add, and then let's create our a group construct, which is called group construct 1. Let's take another look at our constructs, our group construct, and our measurements. Now, the only thing that is left to do is to actually connect these guys. So in this chart, we had measurement 1 and 2 under construct 1. So let's do that. So I will select 1 and 2, and I will click on update parent. And from the dropdown, I select construct 1, and it gives me a warning that it will change the parent. And there you go. And then I will select the other 3 variables and update their parent into construct 2 and update. And that's done. You will do the same thing with your constructs and group them, uh, put them under the same parent, which is called group construct. And there we go. That's the parent. One thing to note here is the relationship with parent, which could be positive or negative. So this usually happens in between measurements and constructs. Like one article might have, for example, measured the reverse of the actual constructs it is supposed to measure. For example, if the construct is gender, it might take male as 1, female as 0, or vice versa. And you need to be very careful with those directions and choose the correct one. What I usually do in these cases, in specific variables, which I think different articles might have measured differently, is that I will assign either myself or one member of the team to go over all the articles that have measured that specific construct, double check that the direction has been entered correctly in the system, because mistakes can always happen. Now, if you want to look at a real world example, this is from one of my meta-analysis. It has 1,600 measurements. This is coming from about 400 different papers, which is quite a huge number. It's not really easy to handle all of that. If I couldn't group these measurements into constructs and then group constructs, there was no way that I could run a meta-analysis. There wouldn't be any meaningful meta-analysis to be done. So I have created different groups. So I have 48 constructs and 5 group constructs. One cool feature is this visualization we provide. Within this visualization, you can see how your measurements, constructs, and group constructs are connected. So for example, I have an entrepreneurial experience group construct, which has 3 different constructs: managerial experience, prior startup experience, related industry experience. And you can see each of these constructs have been measured through multiple different measurements. So, for example, domestic work experience, something called experience business, something called general functional management experience, and all sorts of other things. So you see, people use different names, different definitions in the original articles. It's kind of a loose science how you group them into the constructs for your analysis. And one thing we have to be careful about is we should be as transparent as possible about how we group these measurements into constructs and constructs into group constructs in the analysis, because readers of the final article want to know exactly how your constructs were measured. Unfortunately, this is something that older meta-analysis did not provide. And if they don't do that, their analysis is not quite replicable for whoever wants to do that again. So you can use this platform for reporting how you have grouped your measurements and constructs.